It's pretty difficult. Um, Sometimes I don't want to go into work. I work very early. My shifts start at 5:30 in the morning. Um, at first, it was very hard to adjust to that life because one does not want to wake up at such an early hour. The average college student is trying to do so many things with the same amount of time as everyone else, and anything taken to extreme is obviously detrimental.
My name is Lisa Parkinson. I am an academic and career advisor at the University Advisement Center. I talk to students about 3 S's: sleep, study, and socialize. That doesn't even include working. Anytime any of those things is out of balance consistently and you're consistently exhausted, something needs to be checked. But I know sometimes there just needs to be coverage or work just needs to be done, so there's not as much flexibility, and I feel like that sometimes is not as supportive of students being students first. I feel like our university isn't paying, don't send this to HR. I don't feel like our university is paying students the wages that I think we could.
Returning to work again and again when we have, most likely pretty low wages, and the rent and the tuition and food and housing, all this stuff is piling up. It can be pretty depressing sometimes. So, yeah.
I'm Patrick Weaver. I work for BYU's Dining Services. I have worked here for over 5 years. I started as a student at Choices, and then I worked my way around, worked my way up. I think that working in the Cougar helps prepare our student employees for their future careers and do things that aren't just studying, getting the opportunity to sometimes flip burgers or fry fries, things like that are just hard. They're just hard. I think it's a great thing, and that they're going to treat it that way. And if I don't treat it that way, then they're not going to keep working for me anyways. So, in terms of challenges that student workers face, I think a lot of the time is the workload. Often when they come into a job that they're working while they're doing their school, they often expect that they can do more than they can. And so often we'll have employees start and they'll ask for a certain number of hours or a certain number of a certain amount of time that they can work, and often by the end of the semester or by the middle of the semester they've realized that they just don't have that kind of time or the level of commitment that they need to keep up with that.
I was always busy. I was working about 4 days a week, and each shift was about 5 hours, and so that took pretty much all of my evenings. It is kind of unique. So I've had two perspectives on it. I've had 2 different jobs while going to BYU, and so that makes it really hard if I have plans to get my homework done a certain day. Work is one of the primary factors of my grades dropping. Sometimes I just have to not do my homework and just take the missing assignment because I have to go to work. The hardest part about working in college for me has been trying to balance everything that I want to get done. Trying to balance first the work, my schoolwork, going to class, social life, and my hobbies and the goals that I have. I think that is one of the hardest part, is trying to balance all that stuff together.
When you go a week sleeping 6 hours every night, you're probably going to get sick. There have been weeks where I have wanted to quit. I will not lie.
Quit school or quit work?
Quit work. The hardest parts of working in college are probably finding motivation to keep going.
I feel like working my way through college, I think that is kind of vital to the whole college experience. I think I've been positively impacted while working in college by, making connections with other students. I think it's a great way to meet new people through working.
And so I'm just constantly building that circle of people that I know.
There's really something that you miss when you don't work in a professional manner.
I think overall it's a great thing. That interaction with other people and that accountability to self and accountability to others.
I think a big part of the workplace in the grand scheme of things is how well we can communicate and adapt.
And help people just look outside of themselves a little bit more.
It also has allowed me more opportunities, like financially, because with this work I'll be able to get money and provide for myself, and I'll be able to actually go and go on experiences with my friends. And
honestly, I come to work and I'm so excited to see my manager and my coworkers. I feel like we've made good connections, great conversations where we will hang out outside of work.
On the personal side, my crew I work with and my current job, we're all pretty close and we've hung out outside a few times. So friendships are a big plus there. Other connections I've made being at the MTC and being part of the BYU on-campus facilities team in general. You see a lot of different aspects of the campus kind of behind the scenes through your associates at work as well as your work leaders. You can connect with other people. Yeah.
I would say if the Cougar didn't have the student employees that it has, it would be really boring at times. I think a lot of the conversations would be pretty stale often.
Being employed has definitely opened doors of thought and appreciation on a mental side of things. I have more appreciation for what people do, especially while in school.
There's a lot of good things that you learn from that, and things that you learn to prepare you for moving on and going out into the world.
Any meaningful work that you engage in can be helpful for your future. But anytime anything's out of balance, I would say for more than 2 weeks at a time, it's when it's a good reflection time to say, what's the top priorities, what's most needed.
It's really hard for me to balance the other things that's going on. I just don't have as much time for the activities that I wish I had time for, or even the schoolwork or going to class. But I also think when you balance it out, you do a little less hours a week, like enough so that you're comfortable, but also enough that you have time to do the things that you need to get done, like your schoolwork.
I feel like because I was the one seeking out a job, it's like I'm gonna work for it, and so I have the motivation, the energy, or diligence to come to work every day, because it's like I know why I'm coming. I want to be here, so it's like I'm going to save up wanting to stay here as well.
So my name is Lisa Parkinson. I'm an academic and career advisor at the University Advisement Center, and we work with open major students and those that are exploring multiple fields, understanding that students are here to be students and that they need that work-life balance.
How I feel about working my way through college. It helps you learn what you want and what you don't want. Having the need for a job really provides the motivation to do well in classes because you are the one providing the funds to go to schooling and to have a social life, dating, etc., all that stuff.
And so often we'll have employees start and they'll ask for a certain number of hours or a certain number of a certain amount of time that they can work, and often by the end of the semester or by the middle of the semester they realize that they just don't have that kind of time or the level of commitment that they need to keep up with that. And so
I've had 2 different jobs while going to BYU. And so like last semester I had a job where I primarily would work in the evening times. And with that, I feel like my work-life balance was kind of tough because I was always busy. I was working about 4 days a week, and each shift was about 5 hours. And so that took pretty much all of my evenings. And so that was like my time where I would socialize. Like that was the evenings are the time I would like to socialize of that. Like I had to fit in my homework with socializing, and sometimes with that I wasn't able to accomplish homework, or I wasn't able to go out with friends.
I guess is like when I am struggling, I'm able to communicate that with people, and they're able to work with me. Like if I need a shift covered to study for a test.
So yeah, in terms of students working while they're in college, I think it's a great thing. I worked my way up, and now I'm an operations manager, and I help run a lot of different operations, and I manage a lot of the managers there. So a lot of experience with working with students and working with employees. Most of the employees that I have that work for me while they're doing their college, they haven't had any jobs yet. And so for a lot of them, it's their first experience in a professional place.
I do think if students can seek out things that are more directly related, that it could help build more of a resume, a work resume, and gain some real world experience that way in the direct discipline they're interested in.
There are other ways of making money and other times for making money as well. Maybe when you're not in school, like over the summer, things like that.